Speaking of being ungrateful for
Oh,
something
yeah.
something nice,
Something
some
nice, a nice gesture,
a nice
but
a nice gesture.
the product itself, I would say, is not
Oh,
a
yeah,
Katie Holmes or
Thanos being ungrateful for a lovely gift.
It's not a love week.
It's a
It's a
beautiful,
it's
a
it's a
beautiful gift.
fine. It's best.
Damn. By the way, we are grateful for good movies, my friend.
We are indeed.
We're
So
very
many
grateful.
good movies
So many good movies.
that
So many good movies that we actually haven't had a chance to talk about all of them.
I know.
We talked about a good chunk of them this summer, but we've also been busy with travels, busy with being sicky icky.
Going
And
around
now
town.
we've been around town. Now that summer is coming to a close, at least summer's movie season is coming to a close. We are going to do a little bit of a tier list. We're going to talk about movies that we've seen, movies that we haven't seen, movies that we haven't discussed. Thano apparently saw a very lovely documentary about honey.
Yes. Someone recommended this documentary for me, and then they told me that I should make my friends watch it.
It's the most virgin coded shit I've ever heard.
It's free on Tubi.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So where would you put this? We have a tier list. The rankings are S, A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Yes.
S being super goated.
Is that what S has always stood for?
Yeah. S is like legendary, like awesome. It's like
I knew that, but
higher
than
than
super goated. I just thought it meant superior. I knew
Oh.
S was I knew S was top tier.
Yeah. So where would you put your Honeyland?
Where would I put my Honeyland? I'm gonna take my Honeyland and I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna be a little ambitious. I'm gonna put it in A because it's kind of amazing. The cinematography, first of all, is spectacular, and like it's real. Like the actual like conflict they were able to see between like the people in this movie is kind of bonkers. They didn't go into this documentary thinking they would be able to film anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
What Honeyland is about is it's about this woman in Macedonia who lives in a village. And when I say village, I mean like village. Like if you went back to our grandparents' age and you looked at like their poor village, like in the old country, and then you took that and you made that even more impoverished, like that's where she lives. And she's a beekeeper, and she gets these neighbors who also want to be beekeepers, and then things ensue. I'll put it that way.
Interesting.
She's got a schnoz. I will say she's got a schnoz. And for someone of Greek descent, giving something so high to people who are not only Macedonian, but also Macedonian and ethnically Albanian.
Ooh, that's high praises.
That's some praise.
Very good. I guess if I wanted to mention anything that I have seen that you haven't, I'm not going to add F1 because I wanted to touch base with you about catching the IMAX re-release in August.
It would have to be on a nice.
Yes. But I honestly kind of want to shout out a movie that I saw 2 days ago by my lonesome, and that was K-pop Demon Hunters.
It's on Netflix, correct?
It's on Netflix. I am someone who does not particularly like or care for K-pop. I understand the appeal. Hot girls doing cute things is always a winning combination. But this movie, to me, I feel like does kind of the smile thing where it could very easily skirt by on the hey, we have these singers and they fight demons, and you're like, cool, but then they never actually touch on them actually like doing the performing, and it's purely on the singing, right? Where like for example in Smile, it's about a pop star who gets haunted by this thing, and they could have just skirted on that, but instead they went out and they actually like filmed music videos for the character. They recorded music for the character, and the songs are good. And this does the same shit. I really like this movie. I'm not quite sure that I'm willing to put it at an S, but it is very high. It's probably a very high A for me.
Very good.
So big recommends.
I feel like we're gonna have a generous a generous curve
Um,
here in this list, which is
we
okay.
kind of discussed this a little bit
In the
in our
last
Fantastic
episode,
Four.
hey, if college grades are inflated, then podcast grades can be inflated.
You know what? If we want to feel less generous, I'll do this. Last Friday, I went to see Fantastic Four again because I thoroughly loved that movie.
Uh-huh.
And in the process of seeing that, I said, hey, there's a movie that just came out today. It's a tight, like 70 minutes.
Tight.
It's made by a YouTube content creator that I really like. Let's check this out. It's called House on the Inn, and it is the most like D movie I've ever seen.
Whoa.
It's D for derivative, D for kinda dull,
Yeah.
D for kinda done funny.
Yeah.
It I don't know. It was like the most cookie cutter example of like a found footage horror movie.
So sad.
Down to the creepy naked lady that shows up at the very end for no reason. Like I said, I'm not upset that I saw it. I'm happy for Chris and her friend Selena who made the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Making a movie's hard. I understand, and getting your movie not only made, but then getting it distributed is very difficult. So proud for them for that. But this does not have the sauce.
Don't have the sauce.
Do you know what does have the sauce? Fucking K-pop Demon Slayer has the sauce. Had the sauce.
I recently learned this phrase. So the black community has this phrase like invited to the barbecue.
Wait, you said you recently learned this?
No, I recently learned is the Mexican equivalent the invited to the al pastor. Okay, so maybe there's a few equivalents going on. So that's the one I learned invited to the al pastor.
La Pachanga.
So you would say this movie is not invited to the.
This movie is definitely not. No, like listen, I'm happy for them, but it does not have the sauce. So before we talk about the ones that we have discussed or that we haven't discussed, I want to talk about the ones that we have already covered.
Okay.
In the pod.
This is going to be hard for me, actually.
Some of these, I feel like I have a very clear point where I want to put them.
Yeah.
But I could be potentially swayed if you have any reservations. So, like, let's start with the one that we just covered, Fantastic Four.
Alrighty.
Are we gonna be showing our cards here that we are Marvel chills and putting that shit in S?
Our Disney paycheck.
Our Disney paycheck. Or do you think it falls more in A?
So I have so many different scales that I'm like rating these on. I'm like, well, for a superhero movie in this year, or for like a John Wick movie, like it's hard. I don't think I'm. There's a lot of these that I don't think I'm just evaluating just as movies.
Fair.
I don't think I can give it S.
No,
I don't. Okay. I had a great time. Don't get me wrong. I do think I really reserve S's for things that made me go wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Fantastic Four brought me like relief and brought me a lot of like enjoyment. But like, did it make me go wow? I would say no.
I agree.
I don't think.
Which it's really funny because we gave, and maybe it's because we are ranking it. Like you said, this is more general, whereas when we did the MCU ranking was purely on the scale of superhero movies.
Yes.
But we gave Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness an S on that one.
And that was within the MCU.
Within the MCU. So yeah. I think that kind of tracks.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable putting F4 in.
Well, here's what I will say though. I think the wow that I got from Doctor Strange was different than what I got from here. And maybe this movie probably is the better movie. I would say though that Doctor Strange was the riskier movie. And I think in that seeing it when I saw it, I think those risks definitely like paid off, right? High risk, high reward, right? Yeah. I walked out of Doctor Strange loving the risks that I saw.
For sure. Very good.
So maybe I can stand by that S. I don't know. Superman. Now here's the thing. I like Fantastic Four better. I forget if you like Superman better or if you're really truly tied. I can't forget which one.
I like them both a lot for very different
Yeah.
reasons. I can't say that Fantastic Four gave me the same
Feeling
warmness
that
in my
Superman
tum
did.
tum that the Superman gave me.
Now, I would say that I don't know that Superman gave me the same warmness in my tum tum than Fantastic Four gave me, but I would say the task that Superman had is different than the task that Fantastic Four had, even though they were both
Thousand
seen as like
percent.
franchises in crisis.
I am perfectly
Where are
happy
you
put it.
leaning towards? Where
I
are
am.
you leaning?
This is a closer S tier for me than Fantastic Four.
I'd be willing to give it an S minus or like a. It's like when you write a paper that maybe had like a lot of grammatical mistakes, but like, hey, the page limit was like 4, but you wrote 10, and it was coherent and some good thoughts. Yeah, I'd be willing to give it the S.
There's just a lot. There's a lot riding on the shoulders of Superman that I feel like it's kind of there in Fantastic Four, where like you are tasked with introducing a whole team of heroes that need to work, because
Yeah,
if they don't work, then you are fucked.
yeah,
But Superman has the added layer of you already have the Snyder bots being assholes deliberately,
right.
and then you have like the tribalism of MCU versus DCU. And then you also have the fact that like we already have one failed franchise that this is still kind of tied to. Do you now need a second failed franchise?
Yes,
The stakes are so much higher for Superman, and I think that the fact that it works on its own merits at the very least a B or an A, and then the fact that it's a really good movie bumps it up a little bit for me.
you could say that they both lifted the boulder, but Superman had a bigger boulder to.
Yes, yeah. Um, Life of Chuck is a movie that
Man, that was in the such early days of summer that CPS was still in school.
yeah, it's true. We drove into the city and we were seeing kids walking to school.
Yeah,
That's
were they
crazy.
fucking seeing Lilo and Stitch? Is that what they were seeing?
Yeah, there was a field trip and they were there for Lilo and Stitch.
Dude, this makes me so sad. This felt like yesterday.
I know.
So I do this thing in my brain where, like, on the last day of school, I'll be like, I know when it's August, whatever, and I'll be coming back. I'll be looking back in this moment right now and thinking that felt like yesterday. And then on the first day of school, I'll be like, I know I'll be looking back in like June, whatever, looking back on this moment right now, and it'll feel like yesterday. I set myself up for these sort of like mini emotional traumas.
This disappointment.
It's not disappointment.
It's
just
kind of
time goes by.
disappointment. I don't know. If I could live in perpetual summer, I would.
Yeah,
Just cash the check.
cash the check, baby.
Cash the check,
Time just
baby.
goes by too fast.
But we saw Life of Chuck. We actually saw it before it officially released.
I think this is kind of a Cine-Scoots tragedy because I think if there's a movie that like deserved us to do an episode about it,
We might at some point come back to it. But
yeah, I would need to see it again.
for sure. But I remember this movie, man, hit me in a way that I was like, I knew I would like it at the very least because it's Mike.
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan, even at his worst, is still like a B.
Yes.
Like Midnight Club, I think is still a very solid B TV show. Still head above a lot of like your very popular shows out there that are honestly kind of just like very basic.
Mhm.
But Life of Chuck is just such a I don't want to sound like a quote on a DVD box, but it's such a celebration of like just people being people. Like
It's not a downer like a lot of Flanagan stuff.
this is a very
is.
even though the movie really does basically
Even though it's about someone dying
it's
of
about
cancer.
someone not just dying but dead. Like the movie starts with someone like on their deathbed basically.
Was 39 great years.
39
Right?
great years.
Yeah. I mean, we walked from this movie knowing next to nothing about it. Like,
I think I knew more than you did.
you probably did because I knew nothing.
Yeah, because like as a big Stephen King simp over here,
Ah, yes, I forgot it was Stephen.
I I knew that because the book came out and like immediately they announced the movie, and I was like, I'd rather watch the movie,
Yeah.
not knowing a lot. But I still, it's hard to not know the story. But it's told in 3 acts. It's just basically going back on the life of this guy from when he dies, to basically his midlife, and then his childhood, and it's so well put together, as you're kind of watching Act One, which is kind of disconnected, but also not. It's
Mhm.
just all of these things about how his brain is just kind of falling apart at the end as he is like flatlining essentially.
And you got an amazing dance sequence.
That is crazy that it's basically a whole act of just a dance sequence.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's all that happens in Act Two, right? Is we learn a little bit about Chuck, what he does. He's like a banker or a CP. I can't remember, one of the two. Something in finance.
Something businessy that we
Oh
should.
yeah, he's an accountant because Mark Hamill's an accountant.
Yes.
Yeah,
Numbers.
it's the numbers and how they're so important. And it's just him and this redhead hottie dancing, and
Yeah.
it's captivating. It's fucking awesome. It makes you feel good.
Yeah. And there's a lot of characterization in it too.
A lot.
I think this movie makes me go, wow.
Yes.
I think
ECS for me.
This is the most confident S tier that I think will exist on this movie.
So I will put Chuck closer to. I'll move Superman over here.
Yeah. So sad.
We'll adjust.
Yeah.
The next one that I want to talk about is Mission Impossible, because I feel like in this one we might need to split this into a Javi and Thano tier.
Okay.
So because here's the thing, for the purposes of pure transparency, I cannot separate the movie as a whole from the craft of the movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
And for me, I can't say that I've ever seen just pure filmmaking like this, where like it's a movie, so like obviously everything is fine. But just knowing that everything they went through to make this movie is as dangerous as like the stunts are in the actual movie itself.
It's very impressive.
Like for me, it's just such an interesting and fascinating thing that even if the movie itself does miss the mark just a little bit for me, like finalizing the story, it cannot take away from just how exciting those sequences are. The action sequences, like the submarine sequence is great, and then you're like, oh, this is really cool, and then you follow that with like a 45-minute just sequence of Tom being thrown around the plane.
So I would say movies like Mission Impossible for me have a low floor or a high floor because I don't need them to be storytelling wise that special. And I would also say they might have a lowish ceiling because I also don't need them to be that special. I just need them to deliver on stunts, right? And I think this movie did, and that's why I'm going to put it at B tier for me.
Very good. So did you move the one?
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay,
I can't find it. Did we duplicate it?
I did. There we go.
Oh, very good.
There we go.
And I can type in there, right? Yeah, I can.
Yeah. You just double click.
Yeah. So
I don't know. It was one of those things for me that I'm like, I know this is like the one that we are for sure going to be on different tiers, and I do agree. I think story wise, it is a B.
Yeah.
But man, I can't. In good consciousness, I can't be like,
the planes are awesome. The submarines are awesome.
This is one of those movies that makes me go, I really wish I knew how to fly a plane.
I forget if we talked about this in the episode. I think this is where I benefited more of her not being familiar with this franchise. Because I walked in on this with just like minimal expectations. I'm like, I had a good time. I don't care what it retconned or didn't retcon. You can't tell me these movies have an actual plot.
Yeah.
This is all just a string of set pieces.
Yeah.
What's next? So Ballerina, we watched All right,
relatively.
this might surprise you. My instincts. All right, what would you say? First of all, John Wick 1, 2, 3, 4. What would you say the lowest ranking of a John Wick movie is of those four?
Here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we talked about this when we did our review for John Wick 4,
Mm-hmm.
where my personal high for John Wick is probably going to be John Wick 4
Yeah, that's
for
fair.
like ever. It is an
Dragon Fire
action
Shotgun.
movie
Yeah,
masterpiece in my eyes.
so that's S. We agree that that's
That is like the closest you can get to the S. Like I could not put that movie closer to the S than on this list if I wanted to. Because
so. With
it
that being
is,
said,
huh?
yeah. So with that being said, I don't need you to tell me which one's the worst one out of the original four. I just need you to tell me the worst grade of the original four.
That's the other thing.
Yeah,
In that
hard to
review,
rank.
I said you could tell me that any of the other movies is your favorite John Wick movie, and I could not argue with you.
Yes, I agree
Because
with that.
every movie does a different thing. Like movie one is establishing John and why he's back in this.
Yeah,
John Wick 2 is a lot of world building, how the Continental and how like the high table works. I think John Wick 3 focuses a lot on kind of like making action the primary set of the
John Wick 3
movie.
got a lot of really good spectacle that I thought was going to be
When
hard to
John
overcome.
Wick 3 came out and then John Wick 4 was coming out, my thought was I can't imagine this having anything that would top that. So
Yeah,
like as far as like an action movie goes, like I think for me at the very least a movie's an A.
I think at the very least one of these movies is an A, which means I have to give Ballerina a B.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
little fair.
I don't know how
Yeah,
fair it is, but I do think it's kind of similar logic that I have to. I think it's similar logic that I have to Mission Impossible in the sense that I think all around Ballerina is a nerfed John Wick movie, right? And that's not a bad thing. I think the character is like rightfully so, not on the same tier as John Wick.
mm-hmm.
I think while we did have some fantastic action sequences, I think overall, like a bit more slower paced than John Wick. So I have to actually be kind of unfair, and I have to compare this to John Wick movies,
I
and I have
would
to be like,
almost say I'm not debating it being a B, but I almost feel like it's like a very strong A minus.
I agree.
Either a very strong A minus or B plus, because I almost liken it a lot to the first John Wick movie, which is actually kind of a slow movie.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch the first one, like it's a lot of him bonding with the dog for like the first half an hour.
Yes.
Then you have like about 15 minutes of setup, and then like the last 45 minutes is just pure action.
Yes.
And
More traditional.
that's really what this movie is.
Yeah.
And I think it to its detriment, but also to its benefit, it needs to do that.
But it's also missing the simplicity of the "you killed my dog, prepared to die."
I think that's almost what makes John Wick stand out is the goofiness of the fact that is you killed my dog, prepared to die.
I think that plot point is this. Like, I don't think you have this whole franchise without it starting with "you killed my dog, prepared to die."
It's such a how do I say this? When back when that movie first came out in 2014, I used to hang out with Miles and Arthur and Jeff and Chelsea and Tony and Jamie a lot, and I told them, "Hey guys, you guys want to go see an action movie with Keanu Reeves?" And they were like, "I guess why?" And like, it's a movie about someone like they kill his dog and he wants to kill people. And they're like, "Hell yeah,
Yeah.
yeah!" It stands out. So I do agree that it is a lesser John Wick 1.
Which isn't a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. I would be like putting it there, like smack in between A and B. I can't fully say that it's like a B movie because I think it is better than a B movie.
Yes.
But it's not. I do also agree that it's not quite an A quality movie.
Of what you've seen in A, you would say that there's a difference in quality between those and Ballerina.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for what they're trying to do. what? Oh, How to Train Your Dragon is a strange.
It's a strange one.
It's a strange one because I love it almost as much as I love the original. I
Almost
do
is the key word.
almost is a keyword, but I don't know if it's enough for me to not get too much for it. It's
And yet, I think it gains points because it might be one of the most competent live action
I think it is
adaptations.
the most competent live action.
Yeah, and I haven't seen too many.
I can't
Right.
think of any other one that I've seen that I'm like, oh, this is anywhere near as good.
Let's put it
Huh?
this way. Both this and Lion King took the let's just recreate this shot for shot approach. But I think this was able to succeed much more with that than Lion King.
Oh, 1,000%.
I think you have to give it
1,000%.
major points for that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And this is kind of like with me and Mission Impossible, where for me it's hard to separate that marriage that I had in my brain of like my love for this franchise and this movie, where my gut instinct is to put it at S, but then I'm also like, am I just being simpy for it?
Yeah.
And
we could just be totally wishy-washy and put this in between A and S. I mean, fuck it, who cares?
I mean, if we're going fuck it, who cares? And I'm putting this shit in S, but if you want to fight for being an A, I'm also like, I'm not gonna die on that hill because
I won't die on giving it the A minus. Let's put it in S. Fuck it, why not?
Hell yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah. It's one of those things like I went into this movie fully expecting it to not work.
Yeah, but it works.
It was a sad feeling because I was like, it was the closest I ever came to feeling like the Ghostbusters fans who immediately shat on anything Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Where I was like, what's the big deal? It's not like Ghostbusters is that good. It's not like a fully, classic movie, at least not to me. Oh, did you freeze?
Right. Am I frozen?
No, there you go.
Yeah.
You were frozen for a second. But then I also have to be like, well, maybe for those people, that is like their How to Train Your Dragon. That is how they feel about that movie.
That could be.
And so then there was a bit of like sadness coming into this movie being like, am I going to not like this? Is that a possibility?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I came out of this movie very high.
It delivered. I think it misses. I do wish it was able to still have the color palette.
Yeah. What was the movie that we saw that we were like, what's the excuse on the color palette? Was that 28 Days?
That was 28 Days.
28 Days did have some so gorgeous vibrant looking shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm willing to kind of die on the still an S tier for me. Even though if I put the animated and the live action together, it would definitely be a bit of a distance between the two of them.
Yeah, but S tier for the feats.
Yeah, the feet. Donald's a feet person. And now we are on to the ones that we have not talked about.
All right.
And this is where I think we're going to start getting into some controversies.
Oh man, Poop Cruise is on this list.
Donald, I put the Poop Cruise on this list because it's a documentary.
Yeah.
Because you started this. This is your fault.
Learning.
Right,
fuck it. Poop Cruise is S.
Is it for the pure fact that it's 55 minutes?
Exactly what it needs to be. Here, we said this in person. I'll say it again.
Man.
In a more hubristic time, this would have been a 3 to 5 part series. 1 episode on the history of boats. A whole episode of aftermath and what we've learned now, and then connecting it to global warming.
You're not wrong.
This told a tight story.
Here's
Actually, Poop Cruise in A or B.
So here's the question for you, and I'm curious if this will then change your mind on this. Poop Cruise is not. Yes, it is a standalone thing. It's a standalone episode, but it's not a standalone series. It's from a series called Trainwreck. They have different episodes, you could say.
I see.
And so then they have some of them are single episodes, like this one. They actually just released one recently, I think, on the storming of Area 51.
Wow.
So this one at least is 1 episode. The other one is 2 episodes. So I guess in a way, it kind of does reinforce your thing of like this needed to be one, and it's only one.
Yeah.
But I do kind of find it fascinating because I was on Netflix the other day and it popped up and I was like, oh man, I really should watch
Yeah.
this Storming. There's one on Balloon Boy.
I heard about the Balloon Boy one.
There's one remember the movie Project X?
No.
It's like a mid 2010s movie. It's all about like a big party that just kind of went crazy.
Okay.
And it was apparently quote unquote based on a real event. Now there is that.
Okay.
There's one on the Astro World tragedy, which feels kind of gross.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm actually putting this in big because
You're putting it in B.
now that I know that, I don't want to. I think it's a sin to ruin the integrity of the S. I think the S's integrity must remain intact. I think Poop Cruise did a fine job of telling me a story, and I'm thankful that it kept it to.
There were some things on it that I really did enjoy. I think the way the way the sets are kind of made to look like the cruise ship is kind of cute.
I like the fact that in this movie everybody still kind of thinks it's one big joke.
I mean,
Like
yeah,
I think they're taking it like a notch less seriously than it probably should be taken, but then most importantly, not taking it more seriously than it should be taken.
I think what works for this, and it's one of those things that I don't know if it would work on for example, the Astro World one, is the fact that like it is inherently a very silly thing that happened.
And no one died.
No one died. Like it wasn't a tragedy. Like I'm sure this probably gave some people PTSD,
right,
and ruined cruising for them forever.
But some
like,
continued.
Huh?
Some continued.
Some continued.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I appreciate this specific documentary, because it doesn't feel exploitative like you always run the risk with a documentary feeling. So I'm curious to check out those other ones because I want to see how, if they are also, if it's a symptom of this specific event being a little bit more lighthearted, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's just these are just very talented documentary makers who are able to show something that could be seen as very tragic and very traumatic for people, and skirting that line between like feeling exploitative and just feeling informative. So we'll see.
Yeah, well said.
We'll see.
Poo-poo.
I think an easy one to talk about would be Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yes.
It's dinosaurs. It's Scarlett Johansson.
And dinosaurs are cool.
Dinosaurs are cool. So I feel like that at the very least gives you a B and higher, maybe. There's certain things about this movie that do kind of irk me, I guess I would say, where you tell me, hey, we're doing dinosaurs again, which cool. But this time we're doing mutant dinosaurs, and you're like,
and ugly mutant dinosaurs.
Well, here's the thing. You pique my interest a little bit with mutant dinosaurs because now you're giving me something new. Now you're giving me something a little bit different, and you go, okay, there's a reason for this to kind of exist. But then they don't even commit to that. They just give you normal dinosaurs, which is still cool. But I feel like then you're over-promising and under-delivering on that promise.
Yeah, so here's the thing. You said at least B. I was going to go the grade lower.
I was going to... Well, that's what I'm saying. Ideally, a Jurassic World movie should be at least a B.
A B. But
I do feel like because this one misses the mark, for me, I was going to put it on the C.
I agree with you. Okay. The two main character plots doesn't work between the family and the explorers.
No, they could have honestly gotten rid of the family and given some of those set pieces to this core character group
of mercs.
Yeah. I think another missed opportunity is we need more fodder in these movies.
That's a good point.
Because then, like, if you have just 4 additional randos that show up in this movie, like as grunts, then you can take them out. And then that gives your dinosaurs a sense of scariness.
And in Call Me Crazy, I think I enjoyed the lightheartedness more of like the last one.
Oh, really?
I think so. I might have to like rewatch both, which is probably not going to happen. But like, I mean, like I do appreciate the action in this one. Don't get me wrong. I don't remember a lot of the action in the last one. I guess just tone wise, I feel like that one at least committed to a tone better than this one.
This one feels a little disjointed.
Yeah, it felt a little long. Probably was a little. It was too long. 2 hours and 13 minutes, I think, is the runtime for this one.
Damn,
Yeah,
that is
and it
long.
felt longer than that.
And like I said,
I can't buy the opening premise.
the opening premise of like people don't care about dinos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bullshit.
That is a very stupid. That is a very stupid thing. People go to the fucking zoo. I go to the zoo once or twice a year, and every time I go, it's fucking packed.
That and like also, now that I'm talking about it, you had a movie that was like, now dinosaurs are in our world, right? What are the crazy implications of that? And then we just skip all of that and kill them off in the meantime. And be like, hey guys, back on the island. I'm like, I think what was in between would have been a much more interesting story. I think in that episode we talked about how we needed more like dinosaurs versus guns, right?
This was when we were talking about the movie after we saw it.
But the last one, not this one, the
Uh-huh.
last Jurassic World, I think we were interested in like the possibilities that like dinosaurs in the world could bring, and it just don't get that.
I don't know.
Ugly, non-fire breathing dinosaur.
I'm here for a world where we have like Dino Crisis. That's what I think we need.
That sounds lovely.
We need a Dino Crisis movie. Have you ever played Dino Crisis?
No, but I've seen.
I would love that to be a thing because I know people like dinosaurs and they don't want dinosaurs to die. That it's always like you want your cute dinos. But I do also think like having a movie with a bunch of like crazy raptors in like a city, and then you have to like fight them and gun them down. I think that could be kind of interesting.
Sounds great.
I want that.
Sounds great. Sign me up.
Shit, one that we did not rate, but we did do an episode on is Bring Her Back.
Yes.
I'm gonna default to you on this. Because I feel like you're the one who's a little bit more critical of this movie.
I'm willing to give it a B.
A B?
Yeah.
Now, the question for me, or that I have for you, is how do you compare this to
the rest there?
To me?
Oh, I like to Talk to Me Better.
Oh.
I like to Talk to Me Better. I think Talk to Me is an A.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. This is, I think, for me personally, I like how hard this movie goes, but I do think the story in Talk to Me is a little bit more fascinating.
Yes,
even though I like the brother sister dynamic and Bring Her Back a little bit more.
That's fair. If this movie was given an A, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Ooh. We saw 28 years later. Now, Thana, have you seen any of the other 28?
No, I have not, and I feel like that also, like Mission Impossible, puts me in an advantage for like being willing to like this movie.
I don't feel like it would put you at a disadvantage if you saw these movies. They're very similar tone-wise. Yeah. Especially the second one is a different group, but I think because you have that gimmick of like 28 blank later, it lends for that separating of like who you're following, and it doesn't hit you as weird.
I think it set me up well for being cool with the ending.
What do you mean?
So I am coming at this movie, and I guess they're actually looking to make like a whole trilogy of these.
Yes, the second one's already done.
So I'm coming from this movie as being like the first of three for me. That's how I've seen this. So now I see this tease for a new one. And I'm like, great, it's a tease for a new one. I'm ready for the new one. Whereas if you're already coming at this as like the third in a series, then I can see where like this feels like more of an incomplete piece. Like it might suffer for.
I see.
Across the whatever the second Spider-Verse movie, like that, the same problem that movie had.
But I still feel like it tells you a good quote unquote origin story for what's his name, Alfie.
This movie,
yeah. What's the other boy?
Yeah, I loved our main characters. I loved everything with Ray Fiennes. I loved that whole, like, the imagery, the thematicness, like the interplay between their characters. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I kind of, I don't know, I felt a little weird about the mom character played by
Yeah.
Jodie Comer. Her name is Isla. There is like a scene in this movie where she magically becomes like a bit of a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I hope we learn a little bit more about that. And we just don't.
Yeah.
So I was like, that felt like a very weird scene. I almost feel like that little bit of conflict could have been resolved in a different way that wouldn't have raised questions. I love Ray Fiennes and his character in this movie. He's such a character that you don't see in zombie movies very often.
No.
And I do really like the setup for his character where like people on the outside see him as like potentially like a fucking psychopath. He's like in Dead Rising when the people at the mall go crazy. And suddenly he's just like burning corpses and making corpses, and there goes crazy old Dr. Kelson.
Yeah, he's the psychopath.
He's a psychopath, right?
He was actually just the sage on the mountain.
But he's just a dude like trying to make the best out of like the worst situation.
Yes. Covering himself in iodine.
Cover.
I like it.
Did he say why? I can't remember.
Kills the germs.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh. I like that this movie was actually the two. I like that it was able to take the half with the dad and the half with the mom, and then you're able to see them as both two halves of like parenthood and raising a boy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually like hate the dad.
No,
right?
I mean,
I'm critical of the dad, but like
of the dad, but I also feel like I would like to have at least seen if there had been any sort of interaction between the dad and the mom to explain why the dad is kind of like this.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, when you're dying, and she does kind of like come in and out of like this weird lucidity of hers. I wonder if she was like, hey, like, just fucking kill me. And he was like, no, I still love you, baby. And then so like I would have liked to see that conflict between Jamie and Isla a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's something that could be explored maybe later.
I kind of hope the dad gets more focus.
I mean, my guess is then Aaron Taylor Johnson's coming back for the sequel.
Dude, my face blindness is so bad that I didn't know that was Aaron Taylor Johnson.
You have it bad.
I do have face blindness.
That's crazy. Bad. So how do you feel about this? Where are we putting this?
Want to put this in A.
That's very fair.
Yeah, I want to put this in A.
I think I would have fought you if you wanted to put this in S.
No, it's not S.
There's a lot of things that I don't like about this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Danny Boyle is a little bit too up his own ass sometimes in like his shooting style. There's this like this rig that they did. It's like a whole bunch of iPhones like on like a curve, and that's how they would do that effect of like the zombie getting shot, and then they would like pause, and the camera would shift, and then you would see the payoff on the other side. And the first time it happened, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then it happened so much, and I was like, Danny, please. We're on first name basis now because of this. Danny, please stop.
I like it, but I also like oversaturating my photos. So I think I just kind of...
I think the color in this movie is great. Like, it looks beautiful.
The color is great.
I also think it's funny that like this movie was shot on iPhones, and it looks like it was shot on a fucking potato.
Yeah.
But I think it adds to the charm. The first movie also looks like that. It's very like grainy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the fact that like this movie feels like it's like graininess that's been added in post makes it look almost fake.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, A is fine. It does leave me very interested for what happens next. I'm fucking curious as to what's gonna happen with Jack O'Connell, I think is his name. He's the guy. He's Jimmy and his weird crew of British tracksuit wearing motherfuckers.
So fucking British, man.
So I don't know. I'm curious about that. So A is fine. Let's talk Eddington.
Do it. This is gonna be hard for me to rank.
Eddington is such a dilemma.
I've gained appreciation for it since seeing it. My initial reaction was I really disliked the second half. Or I don't even know the second half. Maybe it's like the last third.
Oh, interesting.
Spoiler alert, once they kill Pedro, I like that part of the movie less than the opening part of the movie. Let me give the opening part of the movie credit. I laughed a lot.
This is the second most I've laughed in a theater, and I would say this is the most I laughed in the theater until last night.
And it was not an objective comedy.
And this is not a movie where you would put the
this made me
term.
go, comedy is back before comedy was also back.
Yeah.
Ari Aster, right? Not as usual, much more lighthearted, I would say, than a typical. I don't know if lighthearted is.
Yeah, I was gonna fight you on the word lighthearted there.
Yeah,
A little bit more cheeky.
Cheeky is an excellent word.
I think cheeky is a good word for this.
Yeah. More cheeky than a typical Ari Aster flick.
Here's the thing. I think what really helps this movie is that we are not chuds. And so then we were kind of able, and we are also, I don't know about you necessarily, but I'm chronically online.
Yeah, I'm chronically online. I have an addiction.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of this in my social medias. And
like what was in this movie?
Yes, like a lot of the reactions that people were having during this time, I saw that shit happening IRL.
I wonder if like a lot of the lines from this movie are him and whoever else was writing with him. Was he just the sole writer?
He was the sole writer. And I think that's the problem in this movie.
Well, anyway, before we get to that, I was wondering how much of that was him just like combing through either YouTube or articles or like things on the news and just picking bits of dialogue that like crazy people, not even crazy, that all sorts of people were saying during COVID. And like that as the dialogue in this movie, because the COVID dialogue here
is spot on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It like there were scenes in this where like when people are like, "Oh, I can't breathe," and like it's just like a piece of cloth, and like acting like it's killing them. Like, "Oh, but I have asthma." I'm like, "Well, what's worse for your asthma? You dying of COVID, or you wearing a mask for 20 minutes while you go shopping?"
Yes. Not to take the centrist take, I do think that this movie did a good job of poking at both sides of like the political divide during COVID, while also still like taking a side as to who
is the like, abject bad guy.
Yes.
It
was like very early on. How shall I say? I'll use the word. There were parts where I was able to sympathize with a little bit of like what Keanu Reeves was like going through, or not Keanu Reeves, Joaquin Phoenix. Where I was able to like sympathize a bit of what his character was going through. And I was like, yes, we were all like a bit ridiculous back then. And at the same time, this disease was so in its infancy that like, I would say the more justified ridiculous side was the one that was taking the abundance of caution rather than just like pretending they couldn't breathe because they had a mask over their because they had a mask over their head. So yeah, I can't sing enough praises for how this movie was able to make me remember 2020 and then made me able to laugh at 2020 like this movie did.
I'm curious as to if we'll have a renaissance for COVID movies and how long it's going to take to get that, because like we've had some COVID era movies.
We had one that we watched during COVID, that Zoom paranormal movie.
That movie's fucking amazing. Host to me is an S tier horror movie. Especially like being able to make it within 55 minutes because that's the time limit you have in Zoom, which is it's like a great bit of comedy at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
The like just the restrictions that you have to make something super scary, but you're just in an apartment building because that's where you're stuck. So that movie is so fascinating. We had Sick, which came out in 2021, I think, or early 2022, one of the two.
Yep. We saw Sick.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It did, again, it also poked fun a lot of like people, Lysoling like their groceries when they went shopping, like all that shit.
But now we're gonna get like COVID movies in retrospect, which I think will be the more potent. At least have because like they have the added benefit of foresight.
What I don't want to happen, I don't want COVID movies to become the new generational trauma movie. I don't
Yeah,
want COVID to become a metaphor for something deeper,
they could run it into the ground really fast.
for sure.
That's very possible.
But I feel like as far as a movie that just kind of hit the ground a little earlier than most, I think Eddington does a good job at that. I think Joaquin does a really good job at playing someone who is a little on the fringes
Mm-hmm.
and then just fully nosedives
Yeah,
into it.
absolutely.
You have the people who are, I don't want to say weak minded, but like already like a little damaged in
Yeah.
Emma Stone's character and the mom. And then you also have like the grifter, which is that Brian kid who's a fucking piece of shit. So those characters, I just, you see them like in real life, and I think that's why that this movie just really resonates with me.
Yeah.
So are we pretty happy with it? Going to what, B or A?
Let's do A.
A.
Let's do A.
Our boy Ari is back.
Ari's back, baby
Ari's
doll.
back. A for Ari. And now our last movie that we saw last night,
Yeah.
fresh as a pot of coffee.
As I love making these episodes. Really quick, what would you say the ceiling for a movie on like this is? Not what this movie, what you give it, but like what's the best you think a movie like this can?
I said this before, and I said it yesterday. This is not my type of comedy for the most
Right?
part. Slapstick is not my jam. I love
It's not
parody,
just slapstick.
and that's why I think this movie is really good for me. That this feels more like a parody movie than just a purely slapstick pun movie.
Yeah.
Which is why I love like the Scary Movies franchise. Those movies always felt to me like they're primarily parody, and then they add like goofy shit along the way too.
Yes.
And I like seeing that in this movie quite a bit. So for me, I don't know that I could ever give a movie like this S unless it blows me away, unless every joke lands.
No,
I would say a ceiling for me is like an A- on this.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I don't think it could go S. And I don't think every joke lands. Now, I don't think any are duds. Like there was
I know there were some that I was like, okay. I don't know that I would say that's a dud, but it's definitely like it did not hit.
This is also another movie though that I feel like you have to like watch multiple times because like there's not that many like specific jokes that I can remember the wording of like from the top of my head. Like here's a movie you don't like people who quote Monty Python, right, are able to quote Monty Python
They're
because
fucking losers. That's why.
they've seen it like a million times, right? I feel like to be able to quote this movie and then as a result best let the joke ruminate and like appreciate the joke, you got to see it a couple times at least. But like I laughed loudly, other people laughed. I wish I got to see it in even more crowded theater.
That's one thing that I wish we could have gotten to see this at like a packed
packed house.
Packed house. I feel like that would have maybe made some of those lesser jokes hit a little bit more for me. Not because it made me laugh, because I'm like, oh, other people found this funny, so it's effective in at least some way.
Yeah.
But I will say, even for the small audience that we had, there were people cackling at some of the jokes. I was cackling at some of the jokes.
And there was a guy next to you who was also cackling that I felt had a similar timbre to your voice. It wasn't until later that I realized, like, oh, some of those cackles were not Hoppy's; they were somebody else's.
Yeah, it was the guy.
I definitely.
The guy who's a big Weird Al fan, apparently.
Yes, I kind of loved the coffee bit.
The coffee bit is my favorite bit. It's like a weird recurring joke.
Maybe even though it was maybe done like one or two too many times.
Nope. There was a point where I was like, they stopped doing the coffee bit, and then the coffee bit came back, and I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Tropes done well. Tropes
when done well, I think signify why they become tropes and why they never die. like there's a certain level where like absurdist humor just doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when things are just so not just like out of pocket, but like purely nonsensical, where you're like, this wouldn't even trick. Like the whole thing with the little
Right.
girl at the beginning. Maybe it's because I've seen that scene so many times in trailers.
And
Where
I'm glad that was in the trailer because it allows. I think this movie did a good job of not putting the best bits in the trailer.
it
Right.
one of the things that I thought was really good about this, not only not putting the best bits, even when they did put a bit in the trailer, then when you're watching the movie, the joke is extended,
Yeah.
and then that still hits, if not even hits more.
Like the heat vision
The
scene.
heat vision is my example, actually.
When you bring the dog into
When you
it.
bring the dog in, I'm not one of those people who will ever say, you can't do that. This is why this kind of movie could not be made. But I'm like,
Right.
this is the type of shit that makes people say that.
Yes, I agree.
The fact that these scenes were on a PG-13 movie is so hilarious to me.
This was PG-13.
PG.
That signifies something broken. You can't have that dog scene in a PG-13 movie. I'm sorry.
Apparently you can.
That's no. Oh
man, it's an excellent comedy scene. I think it's the fact that they don't let it sit on that too much. It's like it happens, it's a couple of seconds, and then immediately you go see what's happening. And I think that's what
the Liam Neeson-ness of it all is also a key to this movie working.
He's great in this movie.
You need someone who's just taking this like absolutely seriously.
If anything, I think the most surprising casting in this movie for me is not even Pamela Anderson. I know I've seen clips of her in the past being silly. I mean, she was in fucking Borat, for God's sakes.
Pamela.
Like, that's hilarious already. But Danny Houston is not someone that I typically associate with comedy.
But his Danny Houston-ness works here.
He's basically like the straight man.
He's doing typically what he does, but then hearing him go like, Miss Spaghetti, of course.
That's so good.
I think my second favorite bit is also the one with the chief's husband.
Just always being asleep. Question, is he supposed to be the guy who makes the sound effects in the original?
I haven't seen the original Naked Gun.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original Naked Gun.
But yeah, there's a character who makes like funny noises all the time. I almost kind of wish to. I know like they probably didn't want to do it because of the whole O.J. Simpson thing, but like
that was more of a character.
More of that, yeah, because they do show like, who's supposed to be like his son or related to him or whatever. But like this movie really just focuses on Frank and a little bit of Ed.
But mostly Frank.
It's
really Frank and Pamela Anderson's movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of what Ed does, Paul Walter Hauser's character, is a lot of like some of like the slapstick stuff kind of comes up, but not enough for me to be like he feels like at the very least a secondary character. He almost feels like a extra.
Yeah.
In a lot of the scenes. One of the things that I wanted to say is, speaking of Danny Houston, one of my tidbits that I always find really fascinating is that I really only recognize him. My introduction to Danny Houston was the movie 30 Days of Night as like the head vampire guy. And so then me seeing this like scary ass fucking vampire, vicious as hell, going like, yes, Miss Spaghetti. Or
is he also one of Robin's dads in Him Yim?
No. What's his name? That's Ray something.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
A different guy. Looks similar.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just, to me, it's such a bit of like my brain can't process seeing Marlo just like being goofy as shit. I feel like that's more of a jump in logic for me than like Liam Neeson going from like a very serious actor to like this, because a lot of his delivery here is still very deadpan, but I'm glad that he was able to go silly. I do wonder what the legs are on a movie like this. Not this movie itself, but like franchise potential.
Mm.
Because I don't know if they're going to want to do more. Like, I know Liam Neeson is getting up there in age, but he's got years on what Leslie Nielsen did back in the day.
I think I want to see other franchises either being revived or created instead of seeing this.
Mhm.
And I'll maybe even take the same creative team. Like, I'll still take Akiva and Seth MacFarlane to produce.
Mhm.
But I don't think I need to come back to a cop comedy.
Did you watch Chip and Dale, the remake?
I had forgotten about it until I was listening to reviews for this, but I heard it was quite good.
That movie is fantastic. It's actually really good. There's a really, really good Ugly Sonic bit in that movie that is it honestly made the Ugly Sonic debacle worth it alone.
Impressive.
Which is like, I think such a testament to how good like this trio or this group is at like making movies. Because like Akiva Schaffer works a lot with like Andy Samberg and the other guy from The Lonely Island.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of the comedies they've made like are not good, but then when they do hit, man, do they hit.
Yeah.
I can't remember how he's involved, but I know he's somehow involved in Hot Rod.
Yes.
He's a director of Hot Rod.
Yes.
And he does a lot of the Lonely Island videos too, so like they clearly have the comedy chops. I would like to see them try something a little bit different than just like pure slapstick. So, because we've seen them do like a kids comedy with Chip and Dale, which is great. Now they did a nostalgia Beatty absurdist comedy. I want to see them do something a little bit more like kind of like Game Night,
something with a plot,
something with an actual plot. That I think would be what it would take for me to be like, oh, he's one of like the comedy goats.
Dude, poor Game Night.
So
I
good.
feel like that has been lost to the annals of history.
I don't know if lost is the word I would use. I think it's definitely become almost like a cult classic movie. So where are we putting Naked Gun?
A for comedy's back, baby.
A for comedy's back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to say that. I did say my ceiling was an A-, so I feel pretty confident in saying like this checks all the boxes necessary.
This gets there.
Yeah. I hope I am crossing everything I can, and even things that I don't have, that Scary Movie comes back and is as good as this.
I hope so too.
Because man, if this can come back and be good,
and the material that it can pull from,
infinite potential,
abundant,
so much. All right, so let's go over our list really quick.
Yeah.
Before we call it here, Thano, what are our S tiers?
Our S tiers are Chuck. Was it called Chuck or was it called something else?
Life of Chuck.
Life of Chuck. Your Mission Impossible, How to Train Your Dragon, and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Pure A, we have Honeyland.
Mm-hmm.
K-Pop Demon Hunter. Fantastic Four, 28 years later. Eddington and the Naked Guns. We got a heavy A tier. Straddling A and B, we've got Ballerina.
Mm-hmm.
For B, we've got My Mission Impossible. Poop Cruise.
Poop Cruise!
C for Jurassic World, and D for House on House, which I think makes
it's House on Eden.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's so many more that we didn't talk about.
Yeah. Get to the theater, people.
Get to the theater. There's no reason to be bored. I mean, like we didn't talk about Megan.
Lonely. Yeah.
You didn't talk about Head of State, which actually was pretty good. Hell of a Summer was kind of a cute one. I Know What You Did Last Summer was a lot of fun. Together just came out. Movies are back. Next week we have Weapons. I am really hoping to be able to
great things about Weapons,
to hit the ground early on that. So we'll be back very soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna probably try to speed through an episode of Dexter.
Yeah.
And then
I gotta go fix my mirror.
And until next time, he has been Thano.
He has been Javier.
And this is the Cine-Scoots Movie Podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye. Are we Xing out of this one?